Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast, episode 34, with your amazing and lovely hosts, Vladi Kuna
and Norman Gräter.
We say greetings to all of you with today's topic that is very dear to our hearts, like most of the topics, if not to say all of them. And it's about how do you visualize in a smart way. We don't want to say in a right way because there's no right or wrong way. It always is about what you like, what you prefer, and still there are some things that you should have in mind. And I want to kick it off with a book that I just have in mind from one of my NLP mentors in Germany, and he called it the Cappuccino Strategy. And it's a little mind game we can do together. If I say cappuccino, just think about a cappuccino. And we do this in a live version without rehearsing it. Vladi, what do you respond with? If I say, just imagine a cappuccino, what comes to your senses?
It's funny because when you said cappuccino, what I saw is here you get them in those small cups, like a half cups, and they always make heart on the top of it with the foam.
Yes.
So when you said cappuccino, I saw that foamy heart with the little sprinkly chocolate, and that actually is cappuccino for me.
That's perfect. So you gave us, let's just put it apart for every listener and watcher what happened. And I think you had probably a similar answer. You saw the cup, which means Vladi just shared a visual object. She saw something in her mind, which means our mind thinks in pictures. Because if I say cappuccino and you never saw a cappuccino or never smelled one or never touched one, you have no reference. Your mind says cappuccino, no entry, nothing to show. But for most people, we see pictures or little movies. Interesting thing we probably want to talk about in another episode. Let's come back to the cappuccino strategy. Some people say I smelled the coffee smell. Some said I tasted like the coffee with milk smell, like the milk foam and a little chocolate powder on top. Some said I feel the warmth of the cup. Now the question would be, if we stay with the visual, Vladi, how big or how large was the cup you saw? Was it very tiny? Was it huge?
Yeah.
Was it regular size?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. If you just zoom in for a second and make this cup bigger and this big foam and this big heart on top, do you feel better about it if it would be like a giant size cup?
No.
No?
No.
Now let's go.
As far as coffee goes, I actually like tiny, the smaller the better for me, because I associate coffee with the smaller coffees actually are more quality.
Now let's go exactly that way and make it as tiny as possible. And it's just like an inch big. Does this give you a better feeling?
No.
Interesting. So guys, girls, you can always check by zooming in and zooming out if the feeling changes. With Vladi, like the perfect regular size was the best feeling. Some people say, when it gets bigger, and it's something I really love, I get more excited. Which means then, like, zoom in with your camera and make it bigger, go into details. And maybe cappuccino, if you don't drink cappuccino, is not the thing. You can use a house or a car or whatever you prefer. Client, contract, everything. And you can zoom out, and the moment you zoom out, you realize, oh no, it's not that interesting anymore, because you can hardly see it, touch it, feel it, smell it. Back to the cappuccino strategy. Interestingly, Vladi, and probably you as well, shared, I saw a cup, I saw the foam, I saw the sprinkling on top. Vladi did not say, cappuccino, I saw the coffee farmers on the field in Brazil. And Vladi also did not share, I saw the bag of coffee beans at the airport being flown from Brazil to London. She also did not say, I saw myself buying the coffee machine on Amazon. She also did not say, I saw building the coffee machine together and putting water in and putting the beans in or buying beans. No, what she described was the end result, the final cappuccino. So often, my friends, when we speak about our goals, we get so stuck in little details. If I say, what's your goal? To have a client and bring 100,000 into the bank. Cool, what do you see? That I have to write the offer and that I make phone calls. And It's like I see the farmer on the field and I see the beans and I see beans being transported and stored and delivered and grinded. No, with a cappuccino, you don't do that. With your vacation, you don't do that. You see yourself at the beach and not booking it and going to the travel agency. You never see the process. But when it comes to your big goals, you usually get stuck in the process. So the first question we want to answer, what's your big final picture that you would see when you wish, let's say the cappuccino, is fulfilled? Because you do it every day with many little things, but with your big things, you turn it around and you fall off the wagon right after the first, second, third little detail where you say, but I have no clue how this should come along. In the picture with the cappuccino, Vladi never said, oh, I'm wondering if the beans come from Brazil to London. Huh? This was not a question. The question is, cappuccino, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you taste, smell? What's your goal? What do you see? And not how does it come along. This is the first part, how to start.
I love that, Norman. And I love the sentence. And the truth is, like, guys, do think about this a lot because your mind thinks in pictures. I love the cappuccino story, and I'm going to be thinking about this now. And I was already imagining, like, would I love the car bigger or smaller? And would I love the relationships bigger and smaller? Like, bring it into inner sort of experiences as well, not just the material things. But this is a great exercise. I'm going to get the book. But think of these guys. When I ask you, some people say to me, we do have few clients who said, but I can't visualize. Like, I just can't visualize. I said, well, you don't believe you can, or you haven't practiced it, or you're not entirely sure. It's the awareness and understanding how it should look or feel or taste like Norma's talking about. But when you close your eyes, and I will tell you, walk towards your front door, you are going to see the picture of your front door and you're going to see yourself walking towards it. You're not going to see FRONTDOOR because you see the picture. I will tell you, okay, I just finished the coffee, or you finished your coffee, and walk yourself into your sink in a kitchen and wash this cup. Now, for this exercise, forget you have a dishwasher. But just washing it. Now you're seeing and you're standing with your sink. You're not standing next to mine. You don't even possibly know how mine looks. You will always go to the picture that you stored in your mind. Let's take it further. If I ask you, what does wealth mean to you? Let's go with something else, because wealth might be a little vague. What does happiness mean to you? What does being in love mean to you? So many people we talk about relationships, but what does it actually mean for you to be in love? Because I can tell you, and I'm just gonna not be specific, but from the various clients we coach, they say, oh, I actually need my freedom. I like when my husband's at work whole day and I can just have my time to do my things. Somebody is like, oh, I wish we would have, like, we work together. We're running business together and we actually work from an office. So when we find the time together, we go for a lunch. And somebody says, well, we both have successful careers with the different areas. So that's what we do. Some of them say, we actually established a good business and now we're retired. We sold all our stuff and we moved ourselves finally to the place we always wanted to be. It's much smaller, but we have so much peace and love and we can just spend time together. You will ask different people, they will give you different answers. And it's truly important for you to really connect. What is that picture for you? Not for me, not for Norman, not for everyone else, but what is your picture of being in love, being successful? Is it being successful author? Is it being in Hollywood? Or is actually success can be being the best mom ever? Yes, tired, running, but giving full time to your kids and changing their diapers, like Earl Nightingale said in his beautiful recording Magic Board. It means different things for different people. There is no right or wrong. And I want to point you to what Norman said. There isn't right or wrong, but there is right or wrong for you. Because the way you creating your world, there will be things that don't fit in it. So don't do them. It doesn't feel good. Don't do it. And this is something I'm going to put my hand up because I was such a people pleaser. I would just like not able to say no. Well, Norman knows because he's helped me 7 years ago at the beginning, where I had this approval thing. It came from my childhood conditioning. I wanted to be a good girl, so I was saying yes to everyone and totally burning myself out, draining. I knew I didn't have time. But Vladi, could you just help me with this? And I was like, oh, like in my mind, going into my calendar, going, I can't actually even fit my own stuff into the next week. But I wasn't able to say no to people. And that really caused part of my burnout because you don't value yourself. So how do you visualize? You visualize by firstly being aware and notice what you're noticing. What are the pictures? Because if you want to create wealth, let's say you're in a financial struggle, not super struggle, temporary situation, but you would love to have much better financial freedom. You have to replace the picture you actually stored in your mind related to money. It doesn't matter how many affirmations, and I'm not saying affirmations are wrong. Affirmations are great too. They do help. But unless you replace that picture in your mind that represents all the stories you created around the money, you're not going to move. You can, like Norman said, you win the money, you can temporarily start buying. You don't know how to think as a wealthy person, so you're going to lose this money. People build businesses and bankrupt because they haven't learned, they didn't listen to experts, they haven't became wealthy from within inside. First, they just created it outside of the world. The same with health, the same with love and relationships, the same with your job. The truth is, what are the pictures that you store? Somebody wants to be a movie star. Norman's creating a movie and he's seeing himself walking on the red carpet, having this movie. We practice this. I'm already sitting in the first row, clapping him, getting an Oscar. I don't care how he gets there, but I'm enjoying the visual moment. And actually, there you go. And that's what you can do with the friends you surround yourself. Don't share your goal with everyone. Keep quiet until it's done. Don't talk about it, get it done. But you do need to have a circle of friends you trust because that collective energy will make it work faster. And also, different people's perception will actually elevate yours because we look at things from our point of view, where we stand with our experiences. And somebody challenges you. I'm grateful for people who challenge me. In fact, if everybody just nods head and say, yeah, that's amazing, I'm like, oh my God, I really need someone to come, but I disagree with you. And I'm like, okay, now game on, because you can challenge yourself to think differently and, learn to see somebody else's view and feel, because you're actually practicing your compassion. It's not easy for some people because of the way they are. And when you can actually step into someone's shoes for a bit, you're going to learn that, wow, actually, how could this person do it? But I'll go back to Norman and then we can talk more about visual practices with you. But what is yours, Norman? What is the best visualization practice you use that helps you?
First of all, I do my very best to use all 5 senses, because if we are really realistic, life is only about the 5 senses, right? Go back to your last vacation, what you experienced. You talk to your best friend and you share experiences with what you saw, what you heard, what you felt, what you smelled and tasted. Which means the description of life itself, what happens in this 1 second, in this very moment, is given from you to somebody else through your 5 senses. It does not get any bigger and it does not get any smaller. Which means the more you can visualize, and not only visualize but emotionalize through the 5 senses, with your goal already in place or overachieved even, the better it is. And I give you an example. Because Esther Hicks usually said, if you have an issue with a certain topic, let's say you want to have money, but you don't have something, and we tell you, and the teachers tell you, you need to visualize being rich or wealthy or whatever. Like Vladi said, you have this picture in your mind, and until you don't get it out and replaced by, let's say, an NLP technique, we called it whoosh whoosh when we learned it. So find an NLP teacher. It can tell you how to get rid of pictures and get new pictures in your mind, like us. So unless this is not done, you might still have the wrong picture in your mind. Go general, she said. Go away from money. Don't picture your future as having a lot of money, because money calls dis-ease right now within you and the wrong frequency. And this is the other technique that I use. You don't use the cappuccino, which would be the goal. You go further behind the cappuccino and said, what happened after I drank the cappuccino? And let's make this very, very realistic with my movie project. As you could see in my background, there's the script. On the other side is the chair. There's an Academy Award replica and all those things, pictures from Hollywood. It's already there. But the question is, how could I go even further than the statue or the chair or whatever? I could say what would be one result when the movie is popular all over the world and everybody knows the blue glasses. Then I could say something that would happen the moment I'm wearing those. People recognize me and say, aren't you the guy from the movie with the blue glasses? And I say, yes. Which means I'm very open and friendly when I go shopping, because I am realizing that every second somebody could spot me or take a picture or whatever, which means I would not go head down and just by myself through the store. I would go very tall, very straight, very smiling, very looking at people, interactive, greeting people, just being very nice in public. Now, what's the difference between now going shopping in a regular way without the movie and going shopping when you're known by the world? It's a big difference that I just described to you. You would behave different. In my case, I would behave different. Now, what's my issue not behaving like I would behave after the movie is out and famous? As of now, the only person who keeps me away from behaving like that, going very straight and proud, not egoistic, but just being very present and very shiny into the store, looking at people, smiling at people, greeting people, and just being nice to all of them. I can radiate the same frequency like I would have if they would know me. And what would happen? By me being very open and transparent and greeting people and being friendly and have a nice word here and opening the door there, I would get more interaction with people on the right frequency. And this could open doors to other possibilities. And that's the key. If you're a coach and you say, I don't have a movie and I don't go into the store and people know me, could you write yourself an email or ask ChatGPT to write an email from the daughter of a client and say, dear Susie, do you remember like 18 years ago, my mother was your first coachee. And I'm not quite sure if you're aware, but you helped her that much that she totally changed and she put all the knowledge she got from you into us children. And now I am, I don't know, a graduate student of, I'm flying to the moon, I'm doing something, and I just wanted to say thank you for the work you did and that you got started. Which means instead of I need clients, I need to focus 10 clients and they need to pay me, it's again the process. Forget about the process. Take something that would happen years after that. The fact that this email could happen is that something happened before, that people recognize me in the store. We need a movie or we need some kind of transportation. Could be a new influencer, or I don't know, one of my books goes through the roof. I just don't know. But if this would be my goal to be seen, I can rehearse that already and just be open and friendly and smiling like the moment it would happen when it's really true. So that's something I play with from time to time and also go through the 5 senses. And this is my personal best practice. What do you do, Vladi?
I was just listening to you, and I just love the senses, because I remember how you manifested during the COVID, you were using all the sand and pretending you're in a garden, being by the beach, having your feet in the sand. So it really invoked the senses. And this is, guys, when we talk about visualization, when you say, I can't visualize, you can, but allow yourself to visualize, because we're blocking it so many times. By statements like, I can't do it, you actually can't do it. I mean, I just think of my kids, how many times they say, well, it's really hard. I'll tell you a little story quickly that happened this week. I love the movie Facing the Giants. My whole core reason I recommend people to watch it, because the core message for me is, You win, you praise the Lord. You lose, you praise the Lord. You do not deviate from that gratitude regardless of the outcome. Norma's talking about outcome. Are you too attached to the outcome and not finding joy in the journey? My son plays tennis and, like sometimes he gets still upset when he loses the match. And I've been teaching him for a long time. Touch the ground, say, it's a long story, so I'm going to cut it down to the end. And he comes down on Wednesday and he says, I won the match. And guess what? I was actually losing, but I did what you're teaching me. I touched the ground and, the whole technique. And he said, I stayed there. I was visualizing, and every time he hit the point and I was one extra to him and I was losing even more, I just stayed visualizing that this is my game and all the things you taught me I did. And I won. And he literally had to experience it. Do you know how many times he tried this and it didn't work? Every time I said to him, what do you have to lose? Just do it again. You do it again. The only reason it didn't happen is because you're not really doing it in that heartfelt moment that it matches. Obviously, it doesn't understand what the frequency is, but it matches the oneness of the win. So the winning has a certain energy field around it. And the losing has a certain energy field around it for those who don't know what I'm talking about frequencies. So I said to him, which energy you're entering? Are you making yourself be one, so being in a circle of the energy of winner, or are you making yourself be in this circle of the loss? Golfer, that happened this week. Like he said, well, this final, I don't play golf, so I'm not going to say this correctly. But it's one of the final holes they play. It was on the sandpit. And he says, I always miss that one. Always miss that one. And the guy said to him, but why do you say that? He said, because what do you do? And he said, well, I try and close my eyes and I visualize myself winning and I see the red cross where I can't go, but I visualize myself winning. And to me, there was like ding, 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 straight away. What is he doing wrong? He's actually putting a red cross where he don't want to go. And that's what he's manifesting, because he's telling his brain, I cannot hit that red cross, which in an energy field of the visualization means that's what's happening. Because he's not giving his fully focus on energy, seeing a green tick in the hole instead of a red cross in the sandpit. You have to replace that, because that's the subconscious visual you're doing. If you're entering yourself in the energy of winning and feeling it, how does it feel that I won now? That's a different kind of visualization from, oh, I hope I don't hit the ball here, or I hope I don't lose the match, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose the match. So how do we bring this? My tactic. Now it's actually coming. This month is a year. And I am now at an hour of doing nothing a day. So I started with 10 minutes, and Norman knows this, drove me bonkers for weeks and weeks, I'd say months. For me, doing nothing was like the worst thing ever. It was the biggest challenge. I don't have problem to be disciplined. I don't have problems to do 100 things, multitasking, but to sit down and do nothing, oh my goodness. Am I still easy doing this an hour? No, but I'm very close. I can now get myself in it so deep. Not every day, but most of the times I do now. So I made it finally to an hour. But it took me many months just to do 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then I added 20 minutes and mastered it to half an hour. And I wouldn't move to the more minutes until I was feeling I can actually, okay, I've got this now. So added another 5 minutes. What happens is when you find time for yourself to visualize what you would love and how you would love to live your life, and who is that you in the future you would love to become, who is that you being a grandmother, or who is that you being a loving partner, where are you living? What are you doing when you're 90? If you can't feel these with this, what Norman was talking about, the picture, the movie you make yourself of the life, how do you want to live that? If you can't live this in your imagination, it will never happen in reality. It's a law. So spending time every day. I mean, people don't complain about spending hours and hours every single day by rushing through a day and doing things they don't actually enjoy, but just making money to pay the bills. And then I was doing all this for kids, and I was washing and cleaning, and like all these things. If you're a female, if you're a male, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but how much time you're actually spending visualizing what you would truly love. Visualizing you being that movie, like Norman's talking about his movie. Visualizing yourself playing with your grandchildren or living by the beach. Finally, you bought the little bungalow by the beach, and you can just wake up every morning and sit and drink a cup of coffee watching the waves. What are the things, but feel them? So what happens for me is that hour, it still takes me around 15 minutes at least to quiet my mind, because the thoughts are going like, did I sort out for kids? Did I respond to all the emails? What is happening tomorrow? And all that kind of thought process. You can train yourself to shut it down faster. And that's what this exercise did for me. I now am pretty confident to declare that it's probably after gratitude. In fact, it's part of gratitude. It's the strongest exercise I've ever done. Now, it took me time to get there, because you doing nothing during the day means you're doing everything. It means you're quieting your mind, you're thinking you're more creative. You're more connected to your inner power. You're more disconnecting from the rush world and competition that's out there. And you're truly thinking about what truly matters to me, how I like things done, what I don't like, what's happening. People around you, who are they? Do you actually want to spend time with certain... I'm not saying ditch your friends, but really don't spend time, energy, money on things and people that give you so much unease and unhappiness. And why certain people are just friends with you. And what's the point? This is your life. You create it. But out of this obligation, what would other people think of me if I said that? Ask any of my friends, and many of them are listening. They know I'm a no-nonsense girl. I don't care. But it took me a while. I cared because I came to the UK 27 years ago. Oh my God, this fear of building myself and trying to work 5 times harder than anyone else just to prove myself. Because I wanted approval, because I was a foreigner. Like all these little subconscious things. Now, when you step into the truest, best version of yourself and stop being unapologetic about who you are, I don't need to excuse myself. I don't need to tell people, I've mentioned the word God. If you have an issue with the God, that's your problem. Like step out and be who you are. Be truthful to yourself and stop lying. It's like there are people you want to spend time. There are things you want to try. It doesn't matter what other people think. Their opinions are just opinions. What you think truly matters. And because you're taking actions and choosing stuff for you because of what you think. You are the most important person. Look in the mirror, because you're the person who creates success or failure. And failure is also just an opportunity to grow. But really, it's you who can choose to be whoever you would love to be within the realms of the nature. Norman, I'll let you speak at the end.
Sitting in stillness is one of the best things you can do for sure. And if you say, I would like to do that, but I don't have time, I give you an idea. How about you stop wasting your days and hours and minutes on Facebook and Instagram and just watching other people's beautiful life, and most of the people you don't even know and you don't even care about. How about you reduce this half and use half the time to just sit in stillness? If it's on the toilet, if it's in the living room, if it's in your office, it doesn't matter. Just relax for 1-2 minutes. If you cannot make an hour, 1-2 minutes we all have. And this will bring you to much more closeness towards yourself, and you get inspirations and you get answers for what you can do next to fulfill your big goal. And I want to close today with 2 little things. First of all, what Vladi shared, everybody can visualize. It's true. I also met people that said, I cannot visualize, I see nothing. And I said, do you know Hooters, the restaurant in America, Hooters, where the ladies are in bikinis with the big... And he said, yes. Can you see the blonde waitress with big... And he said, yes. I said, see, you can visualize. And for the women, it's the same thing. You take the Chippendales, whatever, with the very tight underwear. Oh, yes, now you see a picture. Okay, if you can see a Chippendale or Hooters girl, I think you can see everything. It's just about training. So if you're addicted to your phone, then sit on the toilet and flip through pictures of things that have to do with your future that you desire. That's much smarter than looking into other people's lives that have nothing to do with you. And to close everything up, and I'm not quite sure why I tell you the story, but it keep popping up. I was at the ball game with my two boys on the weekend, and Luis's team went out. I think not in a half game, but the semi-finals or something like that. And for the final game, there was a shootout, which means if they play 0-0 or 1-1, they have to hit from this 11-meter point, and just every team, one after the other, hits on the goal, and who has more goals after a certain period wins the game or the tournament. And of course, at one point, out of those 9-year-old boys and girls, one team won, and of course, they were celebrating and jumping and screaming around. And as I was standing right behind the goal, there was a standing table, and I was standing right behind it. I watched the goalkeeper from the losing team. And I'm not quite sure if he was crying, but it looked like that. He had his head in his hands, and he walked slowly away towards his team. And I actually felt really sorry. And I thought about that for up till now. And I thought, how nice would it be from the team to not put the whole responsibility on his shoulders. Yes, he's the goalkeeper. Yes, he's in the whole team the only one who can either catch it or let it in, and by his default and by his actions, the team will win or lose, and still it's a team sport. If the rest of the team did not hit a goal or one more goal than the other team, it's all their fault. And usually then they say, oh, it was the goalkeeper, he was bad. Rather than saying, hey, we won second place, how great, and celebrate a goalkeeper, or go towards him and say, hey, everything is good. The whole team did their very best, like the goalkeeper. We did our very best. It did not work out, but he was there basically left alone. And what Vladi shared earlier, you win and praise the Lord, and you lose and praise the Lord. How about if you have children and sometimes they lose? If you have friends or colleagues or mastermind group members, sometimes they lose. Can you just be there and comfort them a little bit and say, yeah, you're not the only one. We all lost. We all learned something from that. And can we praise the Lord as well? Because what we will gain for sure is an experience. And who knows for what this experience is good in the next week, the next month, the next year, maybe the next life, who knows? We just don't know. But if we praise the Lord in every case, whatever happens, life will become so much easier. And with that said, we wish you a wonderful week and say bye-bye until next week.
Thank you. Bye, guys.